Margaret Manning here, and welcome to 60 and Me. This is the place where women over 60 come to be inspired. Now, my guest today is Penelope Whiteley. Penelope is a speaker and an author of 4 books. She has traveled to 57 countries and lived in 7. She's a global traveler. And she's also has a fabulous website where she helps women to kind of make that transition into their 60s and to live life on their own terms. She calls herself the Queen of Aging Disgracefully. I love that title. I said disgracefully, didn't I? Yes. Hi, Penelope.
Hi, Margaret.
I'm always saying gracefully, and then I go, no, it's okay if you want to age gracefully, but Penelope likes to age disgracefully.
It's perception. We all have a different perception of what aging gracefully is.
Yes, I agree.
And what aging disgracefully is.
What does it mean to you?
Aging gracefully reminds me of my piano teacher. So we're going back 60 years now. She wore very sensible shoes and lisle stockings and box pleated skirts and twin sets and had a bun and a thing just there. And that was aging gracefully. And my mother was aging disgracefully because she always dressed very stylishly. And she was unique in her dress, certainly in those days, because very colourful, very stylish, very up to date. So that's where the disgraceful comes from.
Well, I really love that because I've looked at your website, of course, and all the things you write for are all about, living life on your own terms. And when you're in your 60s, kind of ignoring some of those rules that we lived by when we were younger and just coming into our true self.
Yes, I must admit, I think I abandoned political correctness before it was actually started. I find it most distressing that people are unable to say what they actually think nowadays because they may offend somebody. They may not, but they may.
Yeah.
And I think, too, that we really have reached an age, if we're over 60, at which we should be ourselves. Why are we still trying to live within the expectations of others?
Yes. Well, this is absolutely life in the 60s, in our 60s. And I think that one of the things that we go through, these stereotypes that you just mentioned, is around how our physical bodies change. And particularly for this chat about how our hair changes and our skin tone, and our face. And so I'd love to chat with you because you've written a book on this, on gray hair and, the process of graying hair. And talk about, once you've come to peace with having gray hair, how do you use makeup to actually make it look nice and, to bring a glow back to your face? Talk a little bit about the changes that happen when your hair turns gray with your skin.
Your hair turns gray because as you age and you start to get wrinkles and lines and all those little bibs and bobs that we really don't like, we need to be softer. So we need to soften our appearance. When it comes to makeup, we really do need to understand the less is more principle. So if you like to wear, most women over 60 don't have fabulous skin. We don't have an 18-year-old skin any longer. There may be little marks and things here and there. And I know a lot of people don't like to wear makeup because it's whatever it is. I don't know what they say. And I think you do, because this has nothing to do with the way other people look at you. It's the way you look at yourself in the mirror and the way you feel about yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can look at yourself in the mirror when you've just applied a really light makeup and say, oh, I'm looking good today, you're going to have a much better day because you're already feeling brighter before you start. I think I like the idea of a little foundation. I don't like powder. As you get older, I think powder often settles in the creases and can make you look a bit haggish, if you know what I mean. Moisturizer, I actually wear a night moisturizer because my skin is so dry. Not just on my face, all over my body. In fact, on my body, I use colloidal creams because they're
very dry skin. Yeah,
extreme dryness. But use a foundation. Match the foundation to your décolleté. Don't match it to the backs of your hands, which is where, when you go into a store, you try it on the backs of your hands.
Exactly.
Well, is your neck? I think so. So wear moisturizer, whatever you want to wear under your eyes.
Right.
If you have allergies, in actual fact, the cheaper the product, the better for you if you're an allergic person, for the simple reason that a lot of the expensive products contain things that, despite the fact they say they're hypoallergenic, they're not.
That's interesting. Yeah. So
It,
the
it,
less product, the less ingredients, the better.
yes,
Yeah.
basically.
Yes.
But
Interesting.
don't use sorbeline. I don't know what they call it in America, because it's petroleum based.
Yeah, there are a
And
lot of like bio oil. There's lots of oils that claim to be facial oils, but they've got petroleum products. I know that's something to watch for.
well, yes, it's called reading labels. You read labels when you eat, read labels with what you put on your face as well,
Yeah.
because you're actually eating.
Okay, so what you've said is that your skin, as you age, gets sometimes drier. It changes its tone, so it sometimes becomes more pale or not so vibrant as it used to. So you've got this blessing of gray hair. You've decided to let it grow in, or you're blending it with your blonde hair. Tell us what kind of the basic makeup tips for maximizing that gray hair.
I think you have
Besides
to,
more is less, less is more.
absolutely. I think you have to recognize that there is a danger of looking like a piece of used chewing gum if you don't wear makeup. So
Don't want to
a
do that.
light foundation, and with your foundation, it just don't forget your décolleté
Right.
because you want to match.
Yes,
You
of
don't want
course.
to finish it here. You want to blend it down as far as possible. Eyebrows, and we talked about eyebrows
In your
earlier
video, yeah.
on another thing about using eyebrow pencil. Always use eyebrow pencil. Don't use black. Depending on your coloring, you can use a gray, a charcoal gray, or a light gray, a golden brown. Never use black.
Hmm. Most of them have blonde now. I was looking at eyebrow products, and most of the companies I looked at have a blonde option now, which they never had before. So
Yes.
it's good to know that if you're a blonde or light haired or just pure gray hair, you might be more comfortable with a blonde eyebrow pencil. But that frames the face, doesn't it?
Well, it frames the eyes.
Yeah.
And with makeup, the rule of thumb used to be it's either your eyes or your lips when you were adding makeup.
Right.
And as we get older, we want to make it more the eyes because we want to bring the eye of the beholder up
Up.
here. We don't want it
Yeah.
down here.
Yes. Yeah. For sure.
People who love red lips, I think it's fabulous, but it's not always a good look again as we age because it just doesn't go with our skin. So basic foundation, eyebrow pencil, a little mascara if you want to wear it, a very fine line. I'm not a huge fan of eyeshadow, but that's me. I know a lot of people like it and wear it.
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
certainly don't like sparkle of any description. Once you reach a certain age, nothing should sparkle except your personality and your smile.
But that's part of being disgraceful is wearing the sparkle. No, I must admit, sometimes I put a little purple sparkle on my eyes and yeah, but it's always, I think what you're saying here is it's personal and that's what is important. So,
And I think a little purple sparkle,
purple
I like
sparkle.
purple sparkle, um, is lovely in the evening.
Yes,
I
yeah.
don't think it's day wear. Like I don't think it's unbelievable blue eyeshadowed eyes we used to have are
Yeah,
day
that's
wear.
true.
Blusher is a necessity because we really do start to look pale as we age. And with grey hair, we look even more pale. So blusher, again, try and stay away from those that contain sparkle. I actually use a blush that is a face powder.
Hmm.
It contains no sparkle and it's a face powder and it
Yes,
gives me the color I need.
yes.
Blusher is for the apples of the cheeks. This is not about face shaping or contouring. This is about looking bright and
Yes,
healthy.
yes.
Lipstick natural colors are fabulous. Use a lip liner if you must, particularly if you have railroad tracks, which some of us do.
I've never heard it
Um,
called that before, but I know what you mean. The little wrinkles at the top. Railway
hate them.
tracks.
And use I'm trying to think it's Model Co. Model Co have fabulous lip liners. Fabulous lip
Hmm.
liners.
Hmm.
And they come in 3 different shades. Choose the shade that you prefer the most. And I actually put it on all over my mouth.
Hmm.
And then I put a gloss over it. And the gloss is actually a Dior. It plumps them up a bit.
Yes.
Which I like. I like a bit of a plumped lip.
Yeah. I like that
So
idea.
over the Model Co pencil, it's a natural color. It's not too bright. It works in very well with the rest of your face.
Are there any colors, excuse me, Pen, are there any colors that you think work better with gray hair, more the peach tones or pink or?
I think moving into the peach tones is always a good idea once you have grey hair. And even if you have salt and pepper hair, because again, it's about softening the look. You don't want anything that's really garish and in your face.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
I think pink is something that a lot of women have to be careful with, particularly as we age, because pink has to be a very specific shade of pink. Otherwise, we can look a little like La Poupée, the doll, the dancing doll.
Yes.
Which also isn't a good look. I must admit, I am a great fan of eyebrow and eye tattooing.
What does that mean? You mean permanent inking?
I had my eyeliner tattooed on permanent makeup, 40 years ago. About once every 10 years, I have a top up. My eyebrows I had tattooed on about 10 years ago.
Wow.
And you can still see the shadow of it there. And I love it. I had my mouth tattooed. And now you can have almost your entire mouth tattooed, which is I love it. I think tattooing or permanent makeup, as they call it, is wonderful.
Wow, we should do a separate video on that because, I mean, by the way, folks, if you're listening to this and you think that that's an interesting topic, just leave your comments in the section below because we can get Penelope to come back and talk about it. I didn't know we were going to go there with this conversation.
Sorry.
No, not at all. I'm glad we did because it's something that other people might be interested in. So I've thought about it myself with eyebrows, but of course I hadn't thought about it for mouth so that's a very interesting. And I think once you get to be a little older, like you said, you don't want to be worrying about makeup all the time. So it may be a very viable option for some people. And you look gorgeous, so it worked for you.
I think if you have the permanent makeup put on, I initially did it because I became super allergic to everything. So I couldn't use eyeliners or mascaras or eyebrow pencils or anything.
Right. Interesting.
So I had the tattoos done, and all I had to do every day for a long time was just put some of that BB cream on, the tinted BB cream.
That's fantastic. Well, that's really good to know. That's a great idea. So I hope that's been helpful for everybody. I want to remind you, PenelopeWhiteley.com is Penelope's website, and she's written a book. What is it called again with the gray hair?
Gray Hair and You.
Gray Hair and You. And honestly, the topics are everything you would possibly want to know about graying hair, how to color it, why it happens, how to manage it. And the book is about to be published. So if you want to get a copy, just go to Penelope's website, PenelopeWhiteley.com, and then she'll let you know when it's available. That's the best. But it looks really comprehensive. And I know it's a big topic for women in our community, Penelope. So
yes,
thank you very, very much for sharing. Thanks for being here. It's a great talking with you.
Thank you, Margaret. It was lovely to be here.
It's my pleasure. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our 60andMe YouTube channel and also visit our website. We are a strong and dynamic community of women over 60. We're challenging aging stereotypes, and every day we share fascinating stories, interesting questions, and great conversation.